Welcome to Career Uprising. I'm your host and professional career coach, Lorraine Rise. Join me as I guide you through an amazing journey of self-discovery and empowerment. If you are looking for work, changing careers, or stuck in a toxic job, then this is the show for you. I offer both practical and spiritual guidance to help you up-level and advance your career. Let's start the uprising. Hey everyone, you are listening to episode 105, How to Explain Job Hopping. Hey everyone, welcome to another show. And if you are a loyal listener, I really appreciate that. Welcome back. And if you're brand new, welcome for the first time, or maybe you're somewhere in between, right? But catch a show every now and then whenever you can. So however you listen, however often, I appreciate it. So thanks for joining me today. And oh my goodness, it has been getting so hard for me to find the time to record these shows. I still want to do it, still love to do it, but everything has just been so intense this year. I know you guys are feeling that. Lots of coaching going on, lots and lots. Loving my clients. So I also have a little bit of an announcement. I'm excited that this show is now on Amazon Music. So there's lots and lots of outlets for you to listen. I'm on Spotify, Google, Apple, Inflow Radio, my own website, many others, as well as now Amazon Music. So I'm pretty easy to find on all the outlets, but I think that's cool. So if you just were to go to Amazon.com, go to their little menu on the left, and you can choose Amazon Music and then podcasts from there. And then just search my show, Career Uprising, and all the episodes will pop up. So just another way for you guys to connect with me. So also too, I will say, if you haven't done so yet, sign up for my email community. You can go to careeruprising.com/sign up, or just go to careeruprising.com. It's easy to find. And you get a free gift when you opt in. Join my email community. I put emails out just about twice a month, maybe three times. That's about it. Not that much, but there's lots of new articles, podcast episodes, updates, just free content, all kinds of things that I put into those. So take a minute now and go sign up and join if you have not done so yet. It's another excellent way to stay in touch, probably one of the most up-to-date ways to stay in touch with me, in addition to connecting on LinkedIn. That's pretty much in real time. So like I said, life just continues to be so busy. 2021, I don't know about you, has been really intense for me for a lot of reasons, mostly a lot of good and some not so good things going on in the world. But the good news is the flow of clients is really steady. A lot of people getting jobs. I know there's still a lot of tension going on in the world right now. And I think there will be for another couple of years, I have to say. I know a lot of you right now are wrestling with some big issues. Vaccines in the workplace is one of them, and masks, and to work from home or to work in the office. What should I do? And the world is changing so much right now. I know it's not an easy decision, and I feel for all of you who might be at risk of losing your position or just struggling with some aspect of this issue, whatever side you are on, whether you support, the mandates or not. It's not really even about that. I'm just saying I feel for you guys because I know there are a lot of hard choices being made right now. And I have to say, I'm very grateful to be self-employed. I know maybe that's kind of a selfish thing to say, but I have to say it's very nice right now to kind of be doing my own thing. I never envisioned the world taking this direction that it has, but it's nice to know that the choices that I've made too have served me well. But I'm also not insulated at all, or completely insulated from everything that's going on. Obviously, I have a husband who's still in the workforce, and I have a child who is in public school. So I'm definitely not immune to these things. And I will be very honest with you that it has been stressful for me lately with the weight of the world on my mind, plus balancing, a busy work and trying to find time for the podcast and everything that's going on with my daughter and her school. It is a lot. So if anyone out there is feeling stress and just feel like they're going to collapse under all the news headlines, I am right there with you. Okay. Some days are better than others. But The good news is on the career front, I'm continuing to see so many new clients land jobs. It's been really encouraging. I do think the job market is in the favor of the candidates for the most part. And I get asked that a lot. What is a job market like? Is this a good time to get out there? And overall, I would say yes. I do think it's more competitive though, because a lot of people are doing the same thing right now and changing careers. But at the same time, the economy has improved a lot from this time last year. So overall, I think if you are determined to be successful, you will be. So I'm definitely seeing that with my clients. I've had a handful just in the last 60 days or so land new positions. So anyway, if you hear a little bit of noise, hopefully you won't. I've got my window cracked open a little bit because it's so breezy outside and nice, but every now and then it rattles the door a little bit or you hear the wind. I don't think it'll be too much, but I like to let a little bit of the outside in. It just kind of motivates me a little bit through the day. I love to hear the breeze. But so let's get into our topic today. We're going to talk about job hopping, and it's so ironic because I was just on LinkedIn for like half a second this morning, and boom, there it was. Somebody was making a post about this topic that I'm recording today. So I think especially with everything happening with COVID-19 and people changing jobs, I think this is a very, very timely thing right now. I think it's very pertinent that we talk about this because more and more people are either being laid off or just voluntarily quitting. And job hopping was already something that I think has already become pretty prevalent and more acceptable, but even more so with the pandemic. I think it's both increasing even more and also probably becoming a little bit more acceptable too. So I know a lot of people have lost their jobs or had to get out of the workforce to take care of their kids or for a variety of reasons. And maybe they're getting out because they have issues with policies and COVID restrictions. There could be a lot of things. But for whatever reason, a lot of people are changing jobs right now in droves. So one thing that I think that the pandemic has done for the job market is to make it a little bit more normalized and more acceptable to change jobs. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Overall, I think we need to make it okay for people to change jobs when they need to, provided that it is necessary. We don't ever want to just jump arbitrarily. But I think that I think you have to make that determination for yourself. You know, when is the right time? And is this the right situation for me? But let's take a step back first and talk about what this proverbial job hopping is and how to define it. Unfortunately, too, there really is no set definition of what it is. Personally, for me, I would probably define it as leaving a position after less than a year, and there needs to be a pattern of it. You would need to have, I would say, at least 2 positions on your resume where you were there for less than a year. But again, that's a completely arbitrary definition that I made up. And if you could ask somebody else and get a totally different answer. So I just know what I look for is definitely not just 1 short tenure, but at least 2, especially if they're close together. That's where it gets a little bit more, I think, concerning for hiring managers. It's one thing if you had a short job tenure 10 years ago, and then, 10 years later, you have another one. I don't think that's going to raise any red flags. It's when they're back to back that I think is really what kind of gets you labeled, unfortunately, as a job hopper. But it happens. For example, I'm working with a client right now, actually, who took a new job in March, and it just turned out to be really different than what they told her it would be. And she's just really unhappy and feels like it was not a realistic preview of the job in the interview and in the job description. And I got to tell you, this happens a lot. It really does. So now she wants to change again. And like I told her, sometimes you got to do it. It doesn't necessarily make you a job hopper. Everybody gets at least one in their career, sometimes 2, where things just don't work out. Maybe you take the job for the wrong reason, or it just turns out to be totally different. Any number of things could happen. I don't think it makes you a job hopper if it just happens once, or if it happened maybe twice, 2 times really far apart. But I think when we talk about job hopping as people know it, we can agree it's people who habitually have a pattern of moving from job to job, only lasting maybe a year or even less. I've seen some pretty bad resumes in my day where I look at it, I'm like, wow, it's just one job after another consistently. That's when I'm like, okay, I don't know about that person. But it doesn't concern me when I see, just short little gaps or short tenures just sprinkled throughout a history that overall, or a resume overall, that is much stronger and has longer tenures. So I know that's a really vague definition, but there you go. There you have it. It's not clear cut at all. So let's talk about, why do people change jobs so quickly? What can make this necessary sometimes? Sometimes I think it's involuntary. Maybe the company was bought out, or you were laid off, or maybe you were even fired. Sometimes it's just, it's involuntary. There's nothing you could have done about it. It's not that you were actually intentionally hopping from job to job. Or maybe you took the job and it just turned out to be really different than what they told you in the interview, like the example I just gave. That is very common, and it just really, you're not compatible with it. Or maybe you found yourself in a really toxic environment and staying is just too stressful. Maybe it's not the job itself. Maybe it's something in the company culture or your boss. Certainly, if it's something that's taken a toll on your health, then that is understandable and you probably do need to find something else. But I think when you find yourself wanting to job search after just a couple of months, you really need to spend some time asking yourself why. What is misaligned? Because it's really all it is. It's a misalignment of values. There's something that you value that's missing, that maybe they don't, or they're not expressing it. This is a great companion to an episode that I just did a few weeks ago called Your Job Won't Make You Happy. I think it's only maybe 2 episodes prior to this. I would definitely listen to that one if you haven't, because that's a great companion or supplement to this. It touches on some of the same issues. And I talk about some of the reasons why people are unhappy in jobs. And it comes down to that misalignment of values. So you really need to know what you value and what you prioritize in your job. Otherwise, you're never going to find it. You cannot find something that you don't know you're looking for. All right. So whether or not you give yourself permission to change jobs again, I think really comes down to what you value and what you prioritize. Do the benefits of leaving outweigh the risks? They might, but you need to ask yourself that. If you're just feeling bored or under challenged, there might be some things you can do to make the job better and still stay. You might need to speak up, ask for some additional projects, or ask for a transfer to a different department. I don't know. But do some due diligence in there if you're just bored or unfulfilled, just to see if there's something else that could make it salvageable. See what your boss has to say about it. I think it's really important to make sure that you're not just running from something and that you tried to fix it if it could be fixed. So as the candidate or as the job seeker and the employee, do some due diligence and try to squeeze everything you can out of the job and speak up. Or maybe you just need to have a different perspective. Maybe you don't have the right expectations of the job. Sometimes it's you, sometimes it's the employer. But check yourself first and make sure that you're doing everything you can to make the job better. And then if you can't and your confidence not going to change, then yes, of course, you have permission to leave. My permission and yours. No job is going to be great all the time, and I know you already know that. But ask yourself if you feel like it's really necessary for your satisfaction to leave, or might things get better over time? Maybe have you given the job a fair chance? Sometimes the first 90 days is not really a great indicator of how it's going to be over the long term. You have to remember that. So when I'm coaching clients to overcome this, I get the question a lot of how do I explain this to my next employer in a job interview if I have some short job tenures? And so when somebody asks me this, the very first question I always ask them is just to tell me the truth. I say, between you and me, what is the reason why you're leaving? Don't worry about what to say in an interview, just between you and me. What's the truth? Because the response that I'm going to coach them on is 100% dependent on what the situation is. Always start with the truth. That's your jumping off point. And then decide how much of the truth you want to share and what kind of detail you want to go into or not. I do think it's important that you be positive and forward thinking and focus on the future, not bad mouthing anyone, but you can do it in a way that also doesn't gloss over the situation or make it something that it's not. It's important to be authentic, but you can choose how much of the truth you want to share. All right. So I help people with this every day. I give them the exact dialogue. Sometimes I love it when I see clients feverishly writing down the dialogue I give them because, they want to say that exact thing. That's always flattering. But that's one of the benefits of working with me is I can look at your exact situation and come up with a plan for how you want to explain it. Okay, so let's take a quick commercial break. And we're going to talk more in detail. And I'm actually going to run through 2 examples and give you some of that exact dialogue. So just in case these situations might be ones that you've experienced, you're going to know exactly what to say. So you won't want to miss it. We'll be right back. Hey everyone. While the show takes a quick break, I want to tell you about 2 ways that you can get help in your career for free. First, you can sign up for my mailing list and be a part of my community. I offer in-depth resources and solutions for your career problems. I have a free gift waiting for you when you sign up. Head over to careeruprising.com/signup and join my community today. Then join my LinkedIn group called Career Uprising Premium Online Community. It's growing every day, and you can interact with me and ask questions about your own situation. Just open up LinkedIn now and search for Career Uprising Premium Online Community. And I can't wait to connect with you. Let's get back to the show. Okay, guys, we are back and I am ready to run through some scenarios with you. So let's pretend that you took a position that turned out to be really different from the job description and what the interview led you to believe. Maybe it turned out to just be different work or lower level work, doesn't matter. But in this case, I think you can be fairly honest. So here's some dialogue. Here's what you possibly could say in this situation. Based on the job description and the interview that I did, I was under the impression that I would be doing more of XYZ type of work. But after about 6 months, I'm realizing that the job is really more involved in ABC kind of work. Though I didn't plan on leaving this soon, I have to say it is the right move because I know myself and my skills and my career goals very well, and it's really important to me that I'm aligned well with the job so I can stay for a long period of time. So that's why I'm excited about this opportunity with your company today because it seems like there's a better alignment and I'll be more involved in the type of work I want to be in. And then follow up directly with a question. I don't want you to pause and wait for them to respond because they will. I want you to jump right into a question. Okay? So feel free to take any of that dialogue and insert your own situation if you need to, if your situation is a little bit different from that. But there's some core dialogue, and it's important, like I said, to jump right into a question so you can continue controlling the conversation. All right? So let's try another example too. Let's say maybe the job itself is okay, but your boss is terrible. Let's just say you have the boss from hell and they're making it miserable for you there. You can't seem to get through to them or get them to agree with you on anything, and you just hate it every day. And again, it doesn't really matter what the reason is. Basically, it's a personality conflict. So in this case, I might not be quite as authentic and open in the first example because we have to be careful not to just lay blame on the other person, even though maybe they do have the blame. We still have to kind of be careful. So I think in this case, I would say something like this. Though it's not like me to leave a job so soon, I do think it's the right move for me to make at this time. I enjoy the work very much, and I think I'm quite effective at it, but I'm finding that there are some challenges within the company culture that are going to make it difficult for me to stay. I'm the type of person who works well in a very open, positive, and collaborative environment, and I'm just not finding that to be the case here. I've gone through some processes and tried to improve the situation, and I've had conversations with those that I need to, but I don't think the situation is going to improve. So it is necessary for me to find something else. But I'm really excited about the opportunity at your company because I've heard great things about the culture so far, and I think it could be a good match based on what I know. Again, then dive into a question. Do not pause and leave it open-ended for them. But what you're going to notice in both of those responses is that I kept it very future focused. So I very briefly and at a high level, without detail, told them what the situation was. And I reinforced that I was confident in my decision. I wasn't wishy-washy or shaky. I said, I'm confident that this is the right move for me to make. So I owned my decision to leave the job. And then I focused on the positive and linked it back to the company I was interviewing at that day and why I was a good fit for them. So I'm pushing it forward into the future in a positive way and not dwelling on the past. And then I'm diving right into another follow-up question for them to keep the conversation going. All right, this is very powerful. So steal all of that, or you don't even have to steal it because I just gave it to you. But I do hope that those examples will help you. Because as I said, though, this is a case-by-case thing. But the goal is to be authentic and be positive as much as you can without giving away any more details than is really necessary for them to understand. And take control of the conversation and take ownership of your decision to leave. All right? We don't want to show regret or anything like that. Just own it and be confident. And as soon as you're done with the explanation, move on. Ask a question. That's kind of the same thing with salary negotiations as well. It's a very important tactic. But if you want to work one-on-one with me, I'm happy to help you. We can go through your exact situation. Just reach out to me through careeruprising.com, or you can email me, Lorraine@careeruprising.com, or you can LinkedIn message me, whatever you prefer. I'm not on Facebook anymore, and I'm not on Twitter anymore, so I have a very, very low social media intake personally, and I like it that way. So email and LinkedIn really are the best ways to reach me. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. I've got another show coming out in about 2 weeks after this, though, so stay tuned for that. And I hope you guys have a wonderful week. That's it for today's show. Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you heard today, please consider giving the show a positive review on iTunes. It would mean a lot to me, and it would help to spread the word so that others can learn about the show. Thanks again for tuning in, and I can't wait to connect with you again next time on Career Uprising.
This show is brought to you by InflowRadio.com, the best curated talk radio network for personal development, wellness, spirituality, and conscious business.